Welcome.
Season 4.
X-rated.
Ryan Whedon.
Matt Fisher.
All the feels.
In case you're unfamiliar with the podcast, we are two guys that dated for a couple of weeks about a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now we review movies.
Yeah.
Under the guise of X-rated.
Not G-Y-S. Well, I guess
we
are.
could be under the guise.
Yeah, I guess. Technically.
Under the guys, over the guys, beside the guys.
Around the guys.
Just generally with the guys.
Preposition the guys. That's us.
Yeah.
We try to focus on those hidden gems. Maybe those movies you haven't heard about yet.
The overlooked greats.
The shelved because they made no money. Cult classics.
Yeah. Anything that AFI doesn't want you to see.
If Leonard
By
Maltin
which I
has
mean
talked
we mean
about
the band AFI.
Yeah.
The American Film Institute is a fine organization, but the band is really particular on what movies you watch.
You're going to make me look up an AFI song to put a music bed under this, aren't you?
I don't remember. I honestly don't think that. Because I used to work at a music store. I managed it for years and years.
Yeah.
And for some reason, AFI, they always sold really well. And then one day it dawned on me that only 14-year-old girls were buying their stuff.
Oh.
And then I saw one of their videos at a gay bar, and I'm like, oh, well, that's why. The dude's toned and scruffy and looks like, the bad boy next door. And I was like, oh, okay.
Isn't it like mall punk, kind of
basically,
friendly?
Yeah.
So it's not really about the music. It's
mall
about
punk's
the image.
a good term for what they are. Yeah.
You'd hear it at the local Hot Topic. Maybe the Zoomies.
While you're buying your Nightmare Before Christmas paraphernalia.
Or Plugs jeans.
Is that the newest Jordache jeans?
Yeah, they're all the rage. Plugs are better than Jenkos. Jenkos are too expensive. Getting the same thing with plugs. I'm wearing plugs right now. 36 inches. And that's not in reference to the waistband. How's it going?
It's alright. And that week off, we just...
Yeah.
We're off our game.
It's a weird start, but... Isn't it always kind of a weird start?
Yeah, we're better on a roll, not getting on a roll.
Yeah. Getting that started, it's always... it's always
it's
a little
hot
tough.
here, folks. Bear with us. It was a hot weekend. We're still
Pride,
recovering.
I am delirious from working over 27 hours in a 48-hour period for Pride.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, I didn't work that much either, but...
It was still hot.
It was still real hot.
We're not quite used to that yet up here in the Pacific Northwest.
So, bear with us, because, we had Pride, and then we had to watch a whole movie and get ready to talk about it.
I had to write notes and gather thoughts and read the Wikipedia page.
I couldn't even bring myself to do that. I watched it, and I'm like, I got it up here.
I'm actually going to go with my own opinions on this one. I don't need to know what other people thought.
I do kind of worry about that when I look at, Wikipedia or, other people's reviews. I'm like, I don't want this to, influence me.
Yeah. I wonder about that sometimes with movie reviewers in general. It's like, do they read other people's reviews before they publish theirs?
Sometimes I think so.
Yeah.
I remember there was that Rotten Tomatoes had 100% for Toy Story 3 for a long time.
Right.
And then one dick critic.
One dude. What's his name?
Oh, I don't know. But yeah, he gave it a bad review and everyone hated him for it.
Well, I think that's his thing, isn't it? He always does contrary. So if everybody hates a movie, he's like, well, here are the merits to this. I think that's his thing.
So he's the one Suicide Squad defender. His big article.
The Academy Award winning Suicide
Here's why
Squad.
Suicide Squad deserved that Academy Award.
Yeah, probably. God. Whatever his name is.
We're not going to give you that power by saying your name.
Just going to say that shitty critic who always disagrees.
So.
Sorry, not sorry. We had a lot of opportunity to watch movies over this week.
Yeah, because we had the break.
Yeah, and so I'm curious if you watched anything worthwhile.
I know that I did, but I, for the life of me, cannot remember too much. I know that I watched a lot. I did watch this year's premiere Pride movie, The Babadook. I'd seen it before.
Doing the voguing.
I had seen it before, but I was hanging out with a friend who had not seen it, and it was like on the eve of Pride, and he was like, maybe we should watch it. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's doable.
I like that movie.
I doubled down on my previous thoughts on it, where, like, visually, it is the exact type of aesthetic that, like, I want out of a horror movie. Like, The Babadook is real. Like, there's no CG, but I feel like it's so thematically blunt, like, it leaves no room for interpretation. Like, by the end of the movie, it's just like, this is what this is about!
Yeah.
Like, and I always get a little let down. I'm like, oh, God, just, give me a letter or something. Like,
well, this is what's frustrating about that for me, is that, like, I feel like it's super obvious what it's about, but whenever I talk about it with people, no one seems to see my point of view on it. Which is that it's, like, a representation of living with grief.
Yeah, like parental anxieties, and like living with the, like, survivor's guilt almost.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they hint at it, but, like, the climax of the movie, like, they make it so obvious. I'm like, God, like, this stops being scary, like, when you're this blunt about it.
Yeah.
But the overall aesthetic of the Babadook, perfect.
It's good. And the performance of the lead woman is really great.
And I was saying that while watching it. I was like, I feel like, this is on par with, like, Melissa Leo in Winter's Bone and stuff like that. Like,
yeah. What is her name? Dang it, I wish I knew her name.
She hasn't, like, been in anything else.
Give her roles. She's a good actress.
Yeah, like, it was a quality performance.
Yeah. And,
a lot of horror movies don't. They're not really known for their powerhouse performances.
Yeah. I definitely think that movie had that.
So, yeah, like, overall, very enjoyable movie. Like it quite a bit. But...
I didn't get the whole, why is this a gay pride thing all of a sudden?
Oh, yeah.
It took a while for me to finally dig deep enough to figure out what the hell is going on here.
It's one of those mistakes that the internet loves.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm fine with it now. At first I was like, this is stupid, guys. Come on. Now I'm fine with it. Actually, and you know what made me fine with it was somebody said, I'm looking forward to next season of RuPaul's Drag Race with the inevitable category is Babadook realness.
Yeah.
And I, too, am looking forward to that. So then I'm like, well, I'll embrace this.
Yeah, just gotta lean into it at this point.
Yeah. I learned about a web series called Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Have you heard about this?
No.
It's an ongoing web series out of Britain that it's kind of like a horror children's show. It's sort of like if Wonder Chosen had a plot and was like filled with visual cues. It's really good. It's 6 parts. And apparently, I think they just made an announcement that there's going to be a 7th, but like I don't know what they're going to do because it really fits really well within the 6 episodes theme. But they're kind of scary. They start off kind of funny. There's music involved, and they use it really well in kind of a scary, good way.
Okay. How long are you?
They're each like 3 to 6 minutes.
Oh, okay.
They're not very long, but they release like 1 a year, and you can understand why once you see it because the production value on it is really high.
Okay.
So there's a lot of puppets, and then a lot of like CGI, and it's just really well made. And it really kind of makes you think. There's lots of theories floating around on the internet about like what it's all about, and it's a lot of fun.
Huh, okay.
I've watched it the full thing like 6 times now in the past week.
Wow!
Because it's
I mean, I guess they're 3 to 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's only a half an hour for the whole thing, so you're just like, I don't know. And the songs are super catchy.
There's songs and it's scary.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. I definitely recommend checking it out. It's weird, and it's a total Ryan pick. I mean, it's like it's ambiguous. It's just like blitzkrieg of ideas, thrown at you. So it's frenetic. But if you like the movies I've picked so far, you might like this too.
said it at the end of the last episode. I wanted to start out season 4 with a bang, or maybe a sploosh. Magic Mike XXL, the sequel to Steven Soderbergh's Magic Mike, loosely based on Channing Tatum's real life times as a male entertainer. And yeah, I guess it was on the set of like Haywire, if I remember correctly. Channing Tatum was just kind of telling Steven Soderbergh about his days as like a stripper. And Steven Soderbergh was like, we got to make this a movie.
Because hadn't he already said, he's like, I'm done directing. And then he found out about this and was like, I can't quit directing until I make this movie about male entertainment.
I don't know if it was quite that soon, but it was definitely near. Like, I think Steven Soderbergh was like, I'm done making movies. Or like, he was nearing that decision. But he's like, I gotta get this one out of the canon first. I gotta unload this on the world.
Spread the seed of this movie far and wide.
And yeah, I saw the original 3 times in theaters.
Oh, wow, okay.
And this was only my second viewing of the second one, and it's no... Like, I don't mean that as a slight against the second one, but I think the first one was just... It was so much fun to have a movie like that. And the only fault with the second one is that there's already a Magic Mike.
Right.
Had this come first, I probably would have seen this one in theaters 3 times, but...
I remember, so I have a less than favorable opinion of the first movie, and I was kind of thinking about it today as to why that is, and I remember part of it's a little subjective, because I remember being in a bad mood, and being like, oh, I'm going to watch Magic Mike because everyone says it's a good movie, or like, you know, put you in a good mood kind of thing. And I put it on and it didn't. And so I think I kind of held a grudge against the movie. I've still only seen it once, so I can't really attest to how I really feel about it. So going into this, I was skeptical.
Yeah, I figured you would be, which is one of the reasons why I chose it.
And I emerge ambivalent. I have a lot. I don't know how to analyze this movie. I don't know if I should go in it with
because this is you lead a life like these people. You know, for you, it's just like seeing a video of your diary. So it might not hold the same sort of gravitas as it does for us commoners.
I'm still not allowed in that 7-Eleven.
So, one of the things, and this is sort of a more egotistical reason to like the movie, outside of the eye candy, one of the reasons I like this movie is we rarely ever get sort of a honest but fun depiction of male sexuality and objectification in movies.
Okay.
When men are, like, sexy to, like, be objectified in movies, it usually falls into the category of they have to be violent as well. Like, think, like, 300.
Okay.
Or, like, Conan or something. Like, action stars are allowed to be, like, ripped and sexy.
Right.
Or it's done almost like humiliation, like full Monty style. Like, we're laughing at them being inadequate at it.
Okay.
Rarely ever do we get sort of a middle ground where it's like you get men who are objectively attractive and we're not necessarily laughing at them.
Right.
And they're not being violent.
They're there to turn us on, period.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is one of the things that kind of makes me happy, is that it's a movie about men, like, and their sexuality, like, or, you know, or their sensuality, I guess would be more accurate. And just them, like, living a life where that's their job. And I struggle to think of too many movies where that is. Like,
you're allowed to be sexy, but you also have to then prove that, like, oh, I've got all these muscles and look this way because I have to punch a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you have to immediately, like, make it a masculine thing.
Exactly. Because, like, I don't know when the last time you saw 300 was. They're barely wearing clothes in that movie.
Oh, it's the gayest movie ever. It's a joke. Yeah, that's a great point. I I like that about this movie. I do. That is something I will agree with you on.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I'm totally cool with a fluff movie that's like barely has a plot, like is hanging, everything on this road trip, quote unquote, to generic stripper convention 2015. There's no other name.
I want to go to that stripper convention.
Hey, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Like that's all fine and good. It's all just like an excuse to find ways to fit dance scenes into the world that they're doing, and that's fine. I love a buddy movie. I love a road trip movie. My problem is that the first half is boring.
The getting the band back together element of the story?
I didn't start to enjoy myself watching this until about the halfway mark.
Is that when Big Dick Richie goes into that 7-Eleven for Cheetos and water?
No, it's past then.
What? You didn't find that scene amusing?
How much for the Cheetos and water?
I liked it, but then it's like it wasn't enough for me to like be into it. It's just like the movie feels really flat up until Andy McDowell comes in. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, I love that scene too.
Yeah, and like that's when I start, or maybe just before that, when like Donald Glover comes in, that I'm like starting to get into the vibe. I feel like that's when it kind of catches its rhythm a little bit.
The sort of the ladies' club, like with Jada Pinkett Smith in Savannah.
That's when I'm starting to get into it a little more.
Okay, because I really like. I think Jada is great in this movie.
Yeah, she's fantastic in this movie.
Because like really, when I watched this, I was like, "Where's her movie?" Like, I want like a spin-off movie of like her just running this place, or like her like early days or something, or like because she was just so good in it. And
Rome.
Rome. And then I've had a crush on Donald Glover since I started watching Community way back when.
He's so cute.
He's so cute, man. And I wish that he had a full dance number, like he gets his songs, but
yeah.
And there's a scene that he's talking where, and I think this is a good like point in the movie, and this is why they kept it. He's driving, and Matt Bomer, the new AG one, is in the driver's seat, and he said that like
these girls have to deal with men in their lives every day who they don't listen to them, they don't ask them what they want. They don't even ask them what they want. All we got to do is ask them what they want. Yeah. And when they tell you, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's like we're like healers or something.
Yes, man. Fuck yes.
We are.
That's right.
We're healers.
It's usually the morning,
We're healers,
maybe in the
man.
afternoon, maybe.
We can be.
We
we can be.
What?
Okay. I like that.
And that's the scene just before we get to Andy McDowell's place.
Yeah.
And I actually wrote down I do like that scene. And I think I kind of like it because then that's when I started to realize that this movie is all about like her pleasure, basically, right? So it's like how do I put this? It's not necessarily pandering to me, it's like they're doing this job for ladies' pleasure, like
they're entertainers, but they know that it's the fans that are what they're doing it for.
Right.
Without the fans, they're nothing.
Right. And it's like, I mean, this whole movie is sort of feels like it's trying to give a legitimate second dimension to these people that are normally so one-dimensional.
Sure.
And then also sort of give them a motivation for doing it in a deeper way than just like, oh, it pays the bills. You know? Which is kind of silly, but whatever. I kind of bought it at that moment. Because then, right after that, Matt Bomer's character, like, Bring It On's Donald Glover's act and, like, sings to that woman, to make her feel special.
Oh, thinking about all our younger years. It was only you and me. We were young and wild and free.
I don't know, like, and you can see that this visibly makes her happy. And I buy that scene, I bought that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, that's when I started getting into it. I was like, okay, so if we start to think of these guys as giving women something that they can't normally have from their average dude, even though it's like, okay, yeah, now I'm on board.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But it took until that point to get me there, I guess.
I like, because, like, Richie seduces Annie McDowell.
Yeah.
He had been hitting a bit of a dry spell, and she's like, freshly divorced or something. And like the next morning, when they're like, did you just sleep with that nice lady? And he's like, yeah.
Glass slipper. She's the glass slipper.
I just like how he gets all those high fives, but there's like not even a breath of ageism there.
Yeah.
Which I also found to be really refreshing. It's like they didn't necessarily go for like the daughters.
Yeah.
Like, they saw the mothers and were just as attracted to them.
Yeah.
Which I think is a nice touch. Like, we don't see that a lot either. That, Annie McDowell, I don't know how old she is, but she, is not as young as her daughter was in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But she was still the one that, like, got the guy, at least in that storyline.
Sure. And that feels, there's a lot of times when I wrote the word pandering in my notes, because I feel like if this movie is setting out to do anything else, it's pandering to its audience. And one of those demos is like 40-something women who are going to get together and be like, we're having a ladies' night out, and they're going to throw some, airplane-sized shots of vodka in their purses and like cans of Sophia, and they're like, let's go see this. And that's totally fine. Like, that's another point they make in this movie. Like, when they're at Andy McDowell's house, and what's-her-name is in the kitchen eating the red velvet cake, and Magic Mike's like...
Look, when shit's not going your way, getting a little crazy with some random friends has a way of helping you sort out your own shit.
There's value in that,
So, anecdote. When I saw the first Magic Mike for the first time in theaters, it was at a theater in Bellevue that's sort of like one of the ritzier theaters.
Oh, the Big Picture?
No, it wasn't the Big Picture, but it was. It's Lincoln Square, where like they have like
Bellevue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they have a concession stand like in the theater until the movie starts, so you can get like popcorn and candy like 10 feet away from where you're sitting.
Oh wow!
And then who's ever like running the concessions like right before the movie starts, like he makes a verbal announcement to like turn off your phones, movie's about to start.
Classy.
Yeah, it's real classy. So like when I saw it, the dude was like, he's like, so movie's about to start. Put your phone, like, turn your phones off or put them on vibrate, and this girl from the back goes, vibrate, vibrate!
Yeah. And you hear the argument all the time that, like, men need these gentlemen's clubs where they can go and be guys and, like, watch women strip, and they're always so sad.
They're just, like, dudes sitting there, like, not saying or doing anything and just, like, smoking a cigar and, like, drinking crappy champagne.
Yeah, but it's like women need those spaces too, I guess, but it seems like a lot more fun.
Exciting, yeah. Also, at that same viewing, I know while I was like looking at the crowd, it was like gaggles of women and then like duos of men.
Yeah. That seems about right.
Yeah, so prime date movie.
They were really trying, like, besides the lady demo, I think they were trying to win over the gays a little bit with this one, where, like, we had Joe Manganiello. I'm so sorry.
Mr. Sofia Vergara.
Yeah. Talking about Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Oh, yeah.
It's like...
Orlando Pride, man.
I know, but I think that's that's pretty thin. I think that's more just, like, trying to paint this picture of, like, an ideal of what you would see.
I would also say that's
one.
pandering more to the ladies than to the gay demographic. Like, I don't think I was ever a boy band fan back in the day.
Oh.
But,
maybe some of our listeners can speak.
I was going to say, women my age were 14, 15, right around then when Backstreet Boys and NSYNC were battling for the top. So I feel like if it is pandering, that's still pandering to that demographic.
Maybe. But
you were a little too old for Backstreet Boys.
I was too old. See, this is where this generation gap is coming in that I was going to talk about. I was too old for that shit. So the whole convenience store scene doesn't work on me.
You were listening to New and Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah. 9 Inch Nails.
Oh, okay.
But
there's
they also...
9 Inch Nails in this.
There is. You're right. Which I will get to later because I have something to say about that.
Okay.
But they really do, like, they go to a gay bar, which is still, like, kind of unclear why they go there to me. But I think something that would have made that whole part of the movie a little more interesting for me is like if they had given it a little more of a backstory. Like, what if Magic Mike had a homosexual relationship with somebody, and it was like in this gay bar, and that's why he goes back because he talks to Jada Pinkett Smith about like they have a history. It doesn't even have to be like a homosexual relationship. Maybe he just like there was somebody else who ended up becoming gay who had a crush on Mike and like confessed his love to him, and Mike's like, I'm not gay. You know what I mean? Like add a little more story there because I just wasn't invested, and it felt like oh, here's some voguing and a drag queen, so you're happy now, right, gays? Like it felt reductive.
I just feel like they knew their audience and they're probably familiar with this concept, like this demographic. They knew how to play to that crowd.
Maybe. Well, I didn't buy it. I did like seeing Tarzan put on the fake lipstick, though. I'll admit that. That part won me over. Everybody else's voguing sucked.
Channing Tatum's voguing was great.
After seeing those two boys up there doing look like wet noodles all over the place, I don't know. I wasn't that impressed. I think his dancing elsewhere in the movie is fantastic.
Oh my goodness!
Like, why isn't he dancing all the time?
In Rome's castle in Savannah,
Yeah.
like he at one point is upside down and his legs are kimbo, and like the curvature of his booty, like.
Okay, so while we're on the subject of Rome's castle, I have so many questions.
That's why it needs its own movie.
Like, if you sign up for this subscription-based pleasure service,
Sure.
Do you also have to sign a release that, like, these dancers are physically going to fling you around the room? Like, what if you hurt your back while that's going? What is the policy on that?
The employment legal expert in me is like, you could never do this. Like, you can't even, like, kiss the clients, like, let alone, like, throw them around.
Yeah. There were a couple of times where it's like, that could hurt somebody's back.
Well, you see, Ryan, this movie is fiction. As are most movies. No, from a legal standpoint, most of the things they do to the clientele would be strictly verboten. But in the world of this movie, it seems to play out okay. But yeah, I can see if you had to sign some contract that, yes, you might have a physical encounter with one of the male entertainers.
You cannot sue if you get injured?
Yeah, if his fingers are too buttery and he drops you, you probably have
from all the baby oil he's covered himself in. I want to know more about the person who runs the sound there, because there's somebody that I think she even says his name. I think his name is Malik. She just like says Malik, and then he plays the song. Like, we don't see a DJ booth, but there's somebody playing music and in control of that mic that she's on all the time.
Are you just looking to parlay your audio engineers?
Yeah, I want to meet the sound engineer who works here. The job must be really interesting. Also, the people who sweep up the ones afterwards, you know? How does that work? How do they divvy that up? I just have a lot of questions.
I gotta say, you're putting more reality in this movie than you do into most movies. You know, like, the logistics of this pleasure dome is...
Where's the changing rooms?
I mean, I do kind of wonder that, too, because it's like, they're at Rome's castle, and there's, like, the first, like, male entertainer that we see, who's, like, this Nubian prince, like, wearing just, like, purple underwear.
Yeah.
And he takes, like, a girl's hand and, like, puts it, like, right on his crotch as he vibrates, and he's just showered with money.
Yeah.
Like, the girls just start screaming and literally throwing money at him. But, yeah, because I know that, like, here locally at Lashes, there's the drag show, and people tip the drag queens during performances. Mm-hmm. And occasionally the ones get too cumbersome and they just spill out on the floor.
Right.
And usually they have to pick them up.
Right.
Before leaving the stage, so...
We just don't see that. Maybe that is the case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that made the cutting room floor.
Must happen... I guess it happens at the convention, too, because they just get showered. The tsunami of ones, as it were. I guess afterwards, once the light goes down, they're all just, like, on the floor. I had another question. Are there enough women to sustain this palace? Do they have a gentleman's night? I mean, like, I'm just really into this.
When they go in, it does look like there's the sort of gentleman's quarters, because there's like a girl like stretching her leg back behind her head, and like they walk by and it looks like there's like a couple female strippers
Right.
entertaining some men. So like maybe they were just in like the lady half of this pleasure dome.
Rome's got an empire.
But yeah, I mean, it really is like I would go opening day to the Rome movie.
I'm so curious. Like, can you imagine if you were the first one that showed up? Like, is it a 24-hour place, or do they open the doors at 8 and you're like, get your girls together and you're the first ones there and you're just like looking around?
Yeah, because we definitely get there and like the party's in full swing.
Yeah,
like we are not the first ones at this party. It has already been happening. People are already in the mood.
I love the idea of it. I don't know. I can't stop my brain from thinking about the logistics of running a place like that.
Well, as you work in your own pleasure dome, and you know that there are dry spells from time to time that can get boring, it probably rubs your sense of reality the wrong way to see these non-stop, or the implication that it's sort of a non-stop party.
Yeah.
Do you think when they do open their doors, in the morning or afternoon, that they just play Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Welcome to the Pleasure Dome in its entirety?
Well, I think they're required to. First song. That means we're open. If you're not dressed, get dressed now. You've got however long that song is. And you're out there rubbing baby oil and chocolate syrup over people.
Chocolate syrup?
Oh no, that was in the...
sticky.
Yeah, that was in the convention.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
That was unfair. Like,
this might be TMI. Chocolate syrup and like fruit and strawberries, that just gets sticky real quick. Like, nobody wants that. Like,
no. How do you feel about raw eggs? Crustaceans in hot sauce?
Is this a callback to Tampopo?
It sure is.
Yeah, I can get on board with the live crustaceans.
Yeah, dead shrimp is dinner.
But, baby oil is fine. Coconut oil, I think, is the happy medium there.
Yeah. If it's cold enough and you spread it, it'll melt on the body, because it melts with body temperature.
Yeah, and you can get it in your mouth and it doesn't taste bad like baby oil would.
Yeah, ugh.
Yeah.
Gross.
But it doesn't get... sticky you don't want more friction in these things. It's like lube that heats up. I'm like, who's too cold? Who's like, oh God, it's like an ice box down there. Better heat this up. I never understood the appeal of lube that heats up.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing until right now.
It was like right as I was like entering sexual maturity.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so you're aware of all the...
It was like a KY
products.
warming jelly. And it was before
No, this sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was like before I knew that like I shouldn't even use KY. Like that's how naive I was.
Yeah.
But they had like a warming jelly, and I was like, what? Heat is the last thing that I'm lacking in this.
Oh. What if you accidentally rub your eye and then your eye starts getting all hot? Ugh. That might cover my pleasure dome questions for now. I reserve.
Is that what all this page is?
There's a lot of it. Yeah.
Questions?
I reserve the right to come back to pleasure dome questions at any time.
Sure, I'll be happy to answer what I can.
Do you ever get the impression that like Matt Bomer is just too pretty?
So, of the guys non-dancing, because when Channing Tatum is dancing, he's my number one pick. Mm-hmm. But when he's not dancing, I'm like, he's okay. He's a little thick in the neck.
Yeah.
Like he's still pretty. Like I wouldn't kick him out of bed, but he is definitely at the height of his prettiness while in motion.
Yes. Agreed. He's really good.
Yeah. Oh, like he is an excellent dancer.
It's one thing. Like, if nothing else, this movie has value because it puts Channing Tatum dancing on film, so that we can watch it over and over again.
But yeah, Matt Bomer. I mean, he's the Lily White Ken doll. Like,
yeah. Don't you get the impression that maybe he strangled somebody at one point?
There's a portrait in his attic.
Yeah, there's just something sinister about him that I can't put my finger on. But I mean, he's handsome as... Oh. And they say that too. They're like, what did Tarzan says? Like,
you know, it's always the pretty ones, like Bundy. It is, man.
I mean, Matt Bomer's so pretty, which is one of the reasons that I hated The Normal Heart so much. Because in what world does Matt Bomer end up with a Mark Ruffalo? Like, no, I'm sorry.
Doesn't he
The
also
logistics of that.
Doesn't he also sleep with a Hemsworth in that movie?
Oh, I think he sleeps with, is it Taylor Kitsch?
That's what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not a Hemsworth.
Yeah. Yeah, also, no way that Mark Ruffalo is doing that. But yeah, so it's like Matt Bomer is, yeah, he's a little too attractive.
Yeah. Although, I'm not gonna not watch him.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like I'm fixing myself a drink while he's on screen.
I don't know, I just picture him coming up to me at a bar, and if he started hitting on me, I'd be like, okay, something's up. Like, are you gonna kill me later? Like, what is your end game here?
I mean, he's also, like, pretty to the point where he's probably not very interesting. That's what breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he is, like, maybe he's got the complete package. But he just seems like he's one of those people that, like, even as a youth, like, that level of attractiveness was already there.
He's like the Rashida Jones character from Parks and Rec.
You said that we were gonna hunt together.
Oh, Anne, I always forget because you're so pretty you're not used to rejection.
Speaking of Parks and Rec, I felt like the soundtrack from this movie was just like the Tom Haverford party playlist. Like his smooth jams.
Totally.
It's got like Genuine and like 112 and stuff like that. Like,
I mean, this movie really opened my eyes to the fact that
how much mid-90s R&B you've missed out on.
Yeah, that I have never heard of. Yeah. Real blind spot for me. Yeah, well, I mean, so I guess what made you pick this movie?
Well, I'm a fan of the franchise.
Okay.
And it had sort of a heisty film feel to it. The way that, like, well, they got the band back together.
Right.
That was, like, the first 15 minutes or so. And then they, like, go and, like, they do sort of the heist movie trope where they collect the players with, like, the different skills in order to, like, pull together the perfect show.
Okay.
Which is also a trope that I appreciate. The movie's got, you know, like, Jada Pinkett Smith was great, Annie MacDowell was great. They also got Elizabeth Banks in there at the last minute, who I love, despite her current comments about Steven Spielberg.
Right.
We'll just ignore that.
check the IMDb page next time,
honey.
Yeah.
It's like, so she missed Color Purple, also Sugarland Express with Goldie Hawn. Like, granted, you know, Steven Spielberg hasn't devoted his life to movies about women, but look at the directors that do. Lars von Trier. Like, be careful what you wish for there.
Yeah.
Oh, did I mention that there's a bunch of shirtless guys in this movie? That's another reason why I like it.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's why I'm ambivalent. I come out ambivalent because it's like, I really wanted it to be just like fun fluff the whole way through, and I just couldn't get excited about it until I guess I needed a little meaning to it, and I'm not proud of that, but it took me a while to get there. I was like the fucking character, the girl character photographer who's like, meh, all angsty, until, you know, finally get my version of this, which is Andie MacDowell acting apparently, and then like I'm on board, I guess. But I did like, and I liked. Did you notice that Mrs. Sofia Vergara, in his Closer scene, to bring it back to Nine Inch Nails, was like, when she's in the sex swing, he's riding her for a period of time where it's like he's the bottom.
Is he?
Like, if you were to picture that girl as a guy in the sex swing.
Oh, because he
straddles
sits
her
on her lap. Yeah.
I noticed that and was thinking, like, interesting. Do girls get off on that? Or is
I mean,
this
girls-
like a
My
wink to the gays?
my experience with ladies is limited, but I have found that girls do, for some reason, like guys' butts.
Butts.
Why, I don't know.
So then in the next one, when Channing Tatum does his final dance scene with girl, and she's sitting in the chair and he's doing a lap dance for the beginning of it, where he's like rubbing his butt all over her junk, and I'm just wondering, because that seems like that's something we've seen many times in film, where it's a woman doing that to a guy.
Yeah.
So when it's a guy doing it to a girl, like, is he being submissive? What's going on?
Did you ever watch Broad City?
Yes.
So you know the one where Abby, she has like the crush on her neighbor, and he's into pegging.
Me.
And she like freaks out and calls Alana. I think I have their names.
Yeah,
right.
you got it right.
And Alana's like, "Oh my god!" She's like, "I used to."
She starts twerking on the wall. She's so excited.
She's like,
Ab, all throughout college, I slept with a strap-on on, just in case the opportunity came along that you have handed to you on a silver platter.
So I don't know. Maybe more girls want to do it than I give credit for.
Yeah, I'm just something I haven't seen. So, and I mean, this is a movie for ladies.
So when I saw the original Magic Mike, right off the bat, we get Channing Sweet Potato's booty. Like, he gets out of bed and he's naked.
Sweet potato.
And the audience fucking erupted. And as it was like 90% women, there's got to be something about the booty that they like.
Yeah.
So, female friends of ours and listeners, if you can tell us why you like the booty, please tweet at us. At X-Rated Movies, # why I like the booty.
I can't wait for those responses. I saw a thing many years ago. It was like a PBS special about
Why you like the booty?
just about
I watched that PBS
human
documentary.
sexuality.
Oh, okay.
And I think I was just past like early sex ed, like just getting into puberty, so it was like fascinating stuff to me.
Okay.
And they did this like scientific study talking about how women do look at butts of men to gauge like compatibility and stuff. Like, it was one of the like higher features ranked that women ranked, and the scientist was trying to explain it in a way as like it'll have a proper thrusting ability. So maybe women are into a like from an evolutionary standpoint, they need a butt that can really thrust into them and get that sperm way up there.
I was going to say, because I know that at least like the theory, you know, from an evolution standpoint is that, you know, men like their mammaries large because they're good feed bags.
Yeah.
And like long legs, like hook up to like wide hips, I guess, and which are good for birthing. Like, it's a good baby bucket.
Large pelvis means king size bed for the baby for 9 months.
Yeah. So like, I hear these things. I don't know necessarily how true they are.
I'm not lending any credence to it. I'm just saying it's something I've heard.
I just don't know how much a nice round booty translates into accurate ejaculation.
Yeah. I don't know. Has anybody made that graph yet? It's like on one plot you've got
booty curvature to
less distance. Yeah. Be interesting to see that if we have any data geeks out there.
I feel like there's got to be a frat house that would take that study up.
Yeah.
Like, they would just jerk off, measure the distance,
and
then we could correlate it to, the sine wave of their booty.
UW, I'm looking at you. I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about. Except that, like, I had to look up if male stripper conventions are a thing. And apparently they're a real thing.
Road trip.
And ladies go and then they lock the doors and it just gets insane.
Tight.
Yeah. So imagine working at that hotel and having to clean up afterwards.
Ooh, seems like a mess.
Yeah.
Maybe a few ones though still lying around. Ooh, a 5.
Or you're the contracted sound/light guy for that, and you weren't expecting this today. It's like, wow, what a day.
Also, like, to go back to logistics, it's hard to put on just a bare bone show. The idea that they just show up and, like,
in 24
pull
hours,
a few strings and, like, get on the list and have this big ornate show set up for them, like, that's where, like, my, like, no, this isn't happening. So, of course, I gotta ask you, marry, fuck, kill, any 3 characters agree choosing?
Come on. Jeez, this is tough. Well, marry Donald Glover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I want to hang out with him all the time because he's funny and talented and we can make music together and he's also hot. So that's boom.
Sure.
I would definitely want to fuck Ms. Sofia Vergara.
Mr. Sofia Vergara.
I got it.
Miss Sofia Vergara. It's just Sofia Vergara.
Take 2. I would definitely want to fuck Mr. Sofia Vergara.
Really?
Yes.
Having seen your history with men, having been on that short list, I would not have pegged you for that type.
Yeah, he's just, he's big and beefy and he seems like a lot of fun. And kill just, I mean, I hate to kill a fellow homosexual, but you're too pretty, Matt.
Oh, really?
Matt Bomer, not you.
Controversial.
I can't.
I'm a little offended by that all of a sudden.
I can't have someone that pretty running around stealing my spotlight. Let's be clear, it's a jealousy killing.
So, I would probably also marry Donald Glover because he just seems like he'd be good company.
Yeah.
He's super, like, busy all the time. Like, he's got his stand-up career. I mean, this is the real life Donald Glover,
Right.
not the character. He's got his stand-up career, and he's pretty good at that. I like his stand-up stuff. He's got his hip-hop career, which I'm not as crazy about. And then he's got his acting career. Like, what is it? Atlanta is his show?
Which is also a writer on.
Yeah. I mean, he used to be a writer on 30 Rock.
Right.
So yeah, marry Donald Glover. So if he could dance while doing it, I'd fuck Channing Tatum.
Okay.
But he'd have to be like doing his pony dances like at the same time.
Okay.
Like I'd have to be like, you know, a pommel horse for him.
Which he uses some ladies for in this movie.
If he could not, if that was a deal breaker, then I'd be fucking Matt Bomer.
Okay.
Then if I were to kill someone, I think it's Tarzan.
Oh, that's
like he's
sad.
nice, but he just doesn't do it for me.
Oh. Don't want to make art with him?
He can't even dance. If he can't dance, he can't fuck.
Yeah, that's probable.
Yeah.
He's old, he's tired. He needs a boat.
He's like a wrestler.
Yeah.
Kevin Nash, I think is that guy's name.
Yeah. Well, do you want
I think we
to
can wrap it
about
up
next week?
Yeah. It's been such a long time since you've given me a movie. I really missed it.
Well, brace yourself, because you might get whiplash from how different this movie's going to be. So, last season, I really stuck with the last 2 decades as far as the movies I chose, and so I want to go way back. Way back. I'm talking 85 years.
I was going to say, what are we going to do, like a Chaplin or De Blau angle?
I want to watch a Fritz Lang movie.
Okay.
I want to watch M.
Okay.
Starring Peter Lorre. A serious as fuck drama.
I was going to say, this is like as serious as they come.
About child murder.
Yeah.
Should follow up our light movie, road trip
But
movie.
you're like, Magic Mike, and it needs to be M. Why not M?
XXL. What's a letter? M. There we go. So, yeah. I watched it a long time ago. It's been on my list. I wanted to get something foreign language and old on this podcast, and so it kind of
Just like my boyfriend.
Gunther.
He's got that Nazi gold money, so...
Wow. That explains the China with the swastikas you've got over here.
I like to think them as backwards Buddha symbols.
Regardless, they're well made. So, well, great. Yeah, Fritz Lang, next week.
You know, usually it's my job to bring the downers.
Yeah.
I don't. This role reversal.
I'm not.
Well, sensual. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this either. It's we'll see what happens.
We can do it this one time.
Yeah, let's just try it.
And then we have to go back to normal.
All right.
Where you're picking cartoons. And I'm picking movies where school buses full of children crash and die.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's plug our junk and get out of here.
Follow us on Twitter at XRatedMovies.
Mm-hmm. You can write us a letter, an electronic letter, to our Gmail address, which is xex.rated.movies, aka xratedmovies@gmail.com.
Like us on Facebook at RatedXMovies.
And we would love it if you could drop us a review or drop us a few stars on the iTunes.
We also have a Patreon.
We do, yeah. I'm in the process of setting up some goals on that. And if you feel like drowning us in a tsunami of ones, that's where you do it, electronically.
If we reach our first goal, we will personally give you a GIF of Ryan gyrating.
In something sexy.
Which, Ryan's got weird taste, so it might be like an Easter bunny costume.
I was thinking, like, just a chicken head, but the chicken head is where my junk would be. I'll make it sexy. Thank you for listening.
That got weird quick.
Yeah, this is Matt and Ryan signing off.
See you next week with M.
Mm-hmm.